Okay, so welcome everybody to Experience It, Learn It, Use It. This is the 11th in our series of professional development webinars where you, the teacher, become the student. You will learn teaching tips and ideas through taking part in the lesson because the best way to learn something is by doing it. Let me introduce myself briefly. So my name is Will Lashett and I am a teacher trainer for National Geographic Learning. I am originally from the UK, but I now live in Singapore. I've been here for 14 years and I have been living, teaching and training in English language teaching in Asia since 2001. So it's coming up for almost 20 years now. While we are talking about teaching, I just want to do a quick poll with you. So this is actually a poll that we do every week, but I just want to get a rough idea of who we have attending. So you should be able to see on your screen a poll. So I'm just interested in what age groups you teach. So if you teach more than one, you can choose as many as you teach. So if you teach all of them, you can click on all of them. Okay, let's see. We've got just over half of you have voted. I can still see quite a few of you haven't voted yet. So I'll just give you a few more seconds. Okay, that's great. About 80% of you have voted now. So I think that is enough. Okay, that's great. Almost all of you. Okay, well done. So I'm going to end the polling and I'm going to share. And you should be able to see this, the results up on your screen. So I can see from this that the majority of you, just over 50% of you are teaching teenagers, and very close to that, 49% of you are teaching adults. So just a few of you teaching very young learners, 8%, and about a third teaching young learners, and a few of you are not teachers at all, which is fine. So yeah, this is good and this is what I expected. So we've got the majority of you teaching teenagers and adults, and the program that we're looking at today, Learn English with TED Talks, this is really most suitable for teenagers and for adults. So you'll be glad to know that you're in the right place, okay, and you're attending the right webinar today. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing those results and move on. Yeah, I mention this every week because I still get a lot of questions about it. So we will be sending you a certificate of participation. It will be sent to you in an email, which will be sent to you tomorrow. Okay, so don't worry if you don't receive this immediately after the webinar today. Okay, it will be sent in an email tomorrow. When you get that email, the follow-up email, there you will find a link to a survey. It's a very short survey. I think it has 6 questions. It'll just take you 2 minutes to fill it in. And at the end of that survey, there is a link, a button you press, which will download the certificate, and you can type your own name into the certificate, okay? So that will come out tomorrow. Also in that email, you will find a link to the recording of this session so that you will be able to watch it again if there's anything that you missed or anything useful that you want to check. Okay, so you will get that tomorrow. All right, so today's webinar is called Try Something New for 30 Days, and we're using the Learn English with TED Talks program. This is a unique program. It's something that is quite different from our other programs, and I'm going to show you why. So as a very brief introduction, it's not a book. So what we're using today is not a textbook. It is an app. And now when I say it's an app, it is an app, but it's not directly available through the app stores. You will be able to find it on there, but you can't buy it through there. So I will show you later how you get it. Okay, but yeah, so mainly this is an app which can be used by students. Secondly, it is a classroom presentation tool. So this is a piece of software which I'm going to use today to show you how to use the lessons. So there is different content on the classroom presentation tool to the app, so it can be used by students at home and also in the classroom. So it really follows a flipped classroom methodology. And finally, the third element of the Learn English with TED Talks program is a companion site, which is you can find on our website. And this has extra resources for the teacher, a lesson plan, worksheets, and an annotated transcript and other materials. Okay, so that's all I'm going to tell you. I will come back to this later on. We're just going to get straight in and start the lesson. So what I'm going to do now, I need to change my share, go to a new share, and I'm going to share the CPT, the classroom presentation tool, with you. Okay, here we go. All right, now you should be able to see now my classroom presentation tool. Can you just type into the chat box if you can see that? So at the top you should see Matt Cuts. Yeah, okay, thank you, Connor. Thank you, Cam. Okay, great. So this we're in the right place. And yeah, we're going to be looking today at this TED Talk by a man called Matt Cutts, Try Something New for 30 Days. And we're going to have a very quick look at an activity which is actually from the app. So this is something we would assign for homework before students came to class. So he's talking about trying something new. So I've got a question for you here, and I'm going to set a new poll for you. So let's try number 2, poll number 2. So these are the same questions in the poll that you can see from the app. And I'd just like you to tell me, so there are 5 activities here. So in the poll box, which of these would you most like to try? So we've got write a novel, climb a mountain, stop eating sugar, ride a bike, or study a foreign language other than English. So these are all new things that we could do. I mean, maybe some of you have already done them, but I think probably most of them we haven't done. So I'm just interested to see which of these activities you would like to try. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to answer. So really this activity is just designed to get students thinking about the concept of trying something new. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and share the results. That's interesting. So we can see that most of you, well, the most popular one, 33%, would like to study a foreign language other than English, so a different foreign language. That's interesting. Also popular is riding a bike every day, which seems quite achievable. And writing a novel comes in third. A few of you would like to stop eating sugar, but maybe we haven't quite tried that yet. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to ask you then, so we've got these ideas, what would you like to try? Just in the chat box, so I'd like you to type in, is there a reason why you have, if you would like to do these things, if there a reason why you haven't done it? So please type in the chat box. Maybe, you know, there are things that sometimes we want to do, but we don't do it. So the question is, why not? Why don't we try to do these things that we would like to do? What's the reason for that? So if anyone could type a reason into the chat box. What stops us? Kitty says she has a sweet tooth, right? So maybe we know that sugar is bad for us, but we don't stop eating it because we feel that it is bad because we like eating it. Sandra says, I don't know how to start writing a novel. And that is a very good point. Okay, sometimes we want to do something, but it's such a big challenge that we just don't know how to do it. It's a very good point, Sandra. Susie says there's no particular practical need, right? So maybe we want to do it, but it's not something we view as essential in our life, so we don't do it. Rika says laziness. Okay, yeah, lots of answers here. We're in a lockdown. Arlene says there are no bike lanes. I can't go out on my bike. Yeah. Beth says, I always want to stop eating sugar, but I think this gives me energy of the day. So energy we need to get through the day. Andrew says, I haven't committed. That's right. So commitment is obviously a big part of this. Okay, very good. That's interesting. So thank you for answering. Thank you for giving me the answers there. Okay, so we're going to, there are lots of things I could show you. This is actually the app content. You can see here that there are activities structured before you watch, then you can actually watch the TED Talk. And then after you watch the TED Talk, there are all these after you watch activities. I'm not going to show you all of these because I want to focus on the classroom content, which is structured in the same way: before you watch, watch, and after you watch. You can see here there's vocabulary, grammar, speaking, discussion, and a project. So we have a lot of content on here, which we're going to look at today, all based around one TED Talk. So we're going to do a couple of these. Let's start off by having a look at the before you watch activity 1. And what we've got in here, we've got some pictures and we've got some questions. The questions are: what goal do you think this person has achieved, and how long do you think it took to achieve this goal? So we've got a picture. Can you tell me in the chat box, what can you see in the picture here? Kitty says a person on the top of a mountain. That's right. Okay, good. A man on the highest hill, a man on a peak. Very nice, nice word, peak, the man. Okay, and I'm going to ask you, how high or how big do you think this mountain is? Do you think it's a very big mountain, or do you think it's a small mountain? Kitty says big, it is high. Okay, and why do we think that this is a big or a high mountain? So what reasons for that? Why do we think it's very high? Rika says he has a pickle. Yes, so he has a climbing pick in his hand. There are clouds. Yeah, he's above the cloud line. That's right, he's above the cloud line. How about the mountain? We can see a mountain in the background. What can you see on the top of that mountain there? That's white. We can see snow, right? So there are lots of clues in here. The equipment he's carrying, the cloud line, the snow on the mountain. So there's lots of hints that tell us what kind of mountain that is. So it's a high mountain. So is it easy to achieve that, or is it something we would need to train for? Would it take a long time? It's a challenge, says Suandra. Yeah, we'd have to train. Antonio said we'd have to train hard for that. So how long do you think it would take? Is this something we could achieve in a week, in a month, in a year? So roughly how long do you think it would take someone to achieve this kind of goal? City says a year. Shinji says a year. Arlene says in a month or more. Van, yeah, maybe years. Yeah, okay, exactly. So I think we can say that this is quite a long-term goal. It's something that we want to achieve if we want to do it, but it's something that's going to take time. It's not something that we're going to achieve, very, very quickly. Okay, let's have a look at another one. What can you see in the picture here? So we've got 3 people. What's happening? Graduation, very nice, perfect. So we've got 3 graduates here from university, graduating from university. And what about the people? Are they the typical kind of people we expect to see graduating? Eileen says old people graduating, adult students, elderly. Rather than adult, we have a word with M that we use to talk about a type of student who studies later. Yes, Shinji, you're right. Mature students, right? So mature sounds a bit nicer than old. Maureen says a lifelong learner. Very nice, a lifelong learner. Graduating, accomplishing their goals. So we've got some mature students who are graduating later than the typical student. So again, is it a long-term goal or a short-term goal? 4 years for bachelor degree. Kartika says, yeah, so it's a long-term goal. Very nice. So this is something that is going to take quite a lot of time. Okay, so we're going to have a look at one more. And here, what can you see here? A scale. Okay, so what is the goal here, do you think? This person on the scale, the goal is to lose weight, right? Losing weight. This is, Antonio says it's my goal, keeping fit. Okay, so this is a goal that many of us probably share. And how about this? Is this a long-term goal? How long do we think it would take to achieve this kind of goal? It requires a lot of work keeping fit. It could be months, but it could be shorter, right? It could be 2 or 3 months. It depends how much weight you want to lose. Okay, so probably this is for some people, a very long-term goal, and for some people, it's a short-term goal. For some people, it's probably a continuous goal. Kartika says, my goal, but I often fail. Okay, nice. So we can see here that we've got different types of goals that probably require different amounts of time to complete. Okay, good. All right, we're going to go and have a look now at the next activity. But before we do, I'm just going to ask you, why do people, as Kartika said here, my goal, but I often fail. So I'm just going to ask you, lots of people set goals, but a lot of people fail, as Kartika said. So why is it that people fail and don't manage to obtain their goals? What is it that makes people give up or fail? Why is it difficult to achieve? So what do we think? Can you put your answer in the chat box? Kirsty says a lack of consistency. Unrealistic. Adam says it's unrealistic. Andrew says there are too many distractions. Strong enough goals. Maybe we are not strong enough to complete our goals. We're lazy. We lack the short-term goal in the process. Beth, I think that's very interesting. We have a long-term goal, but we don't lack. We lack the sort of structure to achieve it. Not enough focus. Not a specific plan, says INET. Okay, big goal, but no plan, says Connor. So this is great. Yeah, so I think you've all got very good ideas there. And we're going to watch the TED Talk now. We're going to see what Matt Cutts has to say about this. Okay, I'm just going to stop it there. Can you hear the audio? Did you hear that when I started playing? Just want to check everyone can hear. Kitty says yes, thank you. Okay, so we're going to watch this. As you're watching it, I just want you to enjoy it. Maybe as you're watching, you can make a note of any of the main points that you think that Matt makes here. So you can write down, just make a note, any of the key points, the key ideas, just write them down for me, and we'll discuss this at the end. Okay, so let's enjoy the TED Talk.
A few years ago, I felt like I was stuck in a rut. So I decided to follow in the footsteps of the great American philosopher, Morgan Spurlock, and try something new for 30 days. The idea is actually pretty simple. Think about something you've always wanted to add to your life and try it for the next 30 days. It turns out 30 days is just about the right amount of time to add a new habit or subtract a habit, like watching the news, from your life. There's a few things that I learned while doing these 30-day challenges. The first was, instead of the months flying by forgotten, the time was much more memorable. This was part of a challenge I did to take a picture every day for a month, and I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing that day. I also noticed that as I started to do more and harder 30-day challenges, my self-confidence grew. I went from desk-dwelling computer nerd to the kind of guy who bikes to work for fun. Even last year, I ended up hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. I also figured out that if you really want something badly enough, you can do anything for 30 days. Have you ever wanted to write a novel? Every November, tens of thousands of people try to write their own 50,000-word novel from scratch in 30 days. It turns out, all you have to do is write 1,667 words a day for a month. So I did. By the way, the secret is not to go to sleep until you've written your words for the day. You might be sleep deprived, but now, is my book the next great American novel? No, I wrote it in a month. It's awful. But for the rest of my life, if I meet John Hodgman at a TED party, I don't have to say, I'm a computer scientist. No, if I want to, I can say, I'm a novelist. So here's one last thing I'd like to mention. I learned that when I made small, sustainable changes, things I could keep doing, they were more likely to stick. There's nothing wrong with big, crazy challenges. In fact, they're a ton of fun, but they're less likely to stick. When I gave up sugar for 30 days, day 31 looked like this. So here's my question to you. What are you waiting for? I guarantee you the next 30 days are going to pass whether you like it or not. So why not think about something you have always wanted to try and give it a shot for the next 30 days? Thanks.
Okay, there we go. So this was Matt Cutt's TED Talk. I'm just going to ask you first of all. So what did you think of the TED Talk? So in the chat box, do you have any comments? Rika says inspiring. I agree. I think it is inspiring, and I like it because it's a very simple idea. Encouraging. Antonia says, I'm going to try it. That's amazing. Inspiring and motivating. Achievable. Andres says it's achievable. Interesting. Yeah, and I think, you know, when I asked you the reason we don't do it, a lot of you said it's because we have a long-term goal, we're not a short-term goal. It's because we don't have a plan. Beth says sharing personal stories is motivating. That's right, because he's achieved it, and we look at Matt and we think he looks like an average person, right? He looks, you know, I can relate to him. If he can do it, maybe I can do it. Adam says, sounds motivating until you start doing it. Well, you know, the point here is that it's only 30 days. So whatever you're doing, you've just got to do it for 30 days. And then, you know, you can stop doing it, okay, if you want. But you just have to make that commitment for 30 days, not forever. Okay, and I think that's something that a lot of people find it makes it easier to achieve. Okay, so I'm just going to say before we move on, this TED Talk, this lesson is for pre-intermediate level. So it's kind of A2, B1 level. And as you can see, I put on the screen there, I did put the subtitles. But I just want to mention that, you know, what we're doing now from the lesson, students in the lesson, they will have already watched this several times at home, okay, on the app. And when they are doing the work, when they're working through the app, they will be exposed to, you know, activities including definitions of the key vocabulary terms. There'll be comprehension notes that highlight the different idioms, the idiomatic expressions. There are cultural notes. There are communication strategies. So there is a lot of support given to students to help them understand the TED Talk, because I know this is one of the issues that some teachers have when they try to use TED Talks directly from the website, is that students find them too difficult. So I just want to say there is a lot of support given here, and we need to encourage students to watch them, you know, several times rather than just once. Okay, so let's have a look at the comprehension. So yeah, again, into the chat box, I want you to write down 1 or 2 ideas. What were the key ideas that you think Matt talked about there? So just 1 or 2 things. What were the most important points that he made, in your opinion? Just interested to see what you say. So please type into the chat box any key ideas, any key messages you took from Matt's TED Talk. Arlene says building confidence, right? It's about building confidence. Connor says it only takes 30 days to add a new habit to your life. That's right. He says 30 days is the right amount of time. Making small changes, don't give up your goal. Break down your big goals to smaller goals, says Andra. If you want something badly enough, you can do it. City says, do not give up and achieve your goal. Perfect. Okay, so let's have a look at one of the exercises here and see what we've got written down here. And we'll also have a look at some of the vocabulary, right? So this is what we will see. This is the classroom presentation tool we can use in the classroom, or we can use it online to teach. And we can see that there are some key points written down here. So number 1, a few years ago, Matt felt like he was stuck in a rut. So he decided to try something new. I'm going to click, and we've got 2 options. So we've got for 30 days, or we've got every day. So which of these is the right answer? Is it try something new for 30 days, or is it try something new every day? What do we think we should use? What's the correct answer? Is it for 30 days or every day? For 30 days. Okay, so I'm going to click that. When he did, he said that the months felt, let's have a look at the answers. We've got more memorable or like they passed quickly. So can you remember, what did Matt say there? Did he say that the months were, he remembered them more clearly? Van says more memorable. That's right. He says that he can remember each month. I think that's a very interesting point, especially maybe during lockdown. All the time seems to kind of join together. But if you did something like he said, one of his projects was taking a photo every day, and he can really remember that as a distinct period in his life. So I think that is maybe an unexpected benefit of doing something like this, that it makes your time more memorable. As Matt started to do more and harder challenges, his something grew. What was it? Was it his strength or his self-confidence? So what was it that he found? What did he increase? His confidence is right. And one of you actually said this just now as one of the key takeaways, that it builds self-confidence. That's right, because you've set yourself a challenge. If you achieve it, this gives you more self-confidence. And one of the reasons that, if we set ourselves a big goal and we don't achieve it, then we feel guilty for not doing it. So making this achievable really builds confidence. Number 4, Matt figured out that if you have enough experience, or if you want something badly enough, you can do anything for 30 days. Okay, so what do we think is the right answer here? Is it experience or is it want it badly? I need tea says want something badly enough. I think that's the right answer. I think this is an important point as well, that if you choose something that you don't really want to do, you're not going to do it because you don't have that motivation. So that's an important point. Some of you earlier said you'd like to write a novel. Matt did it in 30 days. So what's his tip here? Is it to write your daily words before you go to bed or as soon as you wake up in the morning? Antonia says before bed. That's right. So he says basically, don't allow yourself to go to bed until you've written 1,667 words. And this way, you will definitely achieve your goal of 50,000 words in a month. And the last one, Matt believes that small, sustainable changes are, we've got here, more likely to stick or not very important. So small, sustainable changes, they are, what do we think? Not important or more? Yeah, a few of you got the answer here. So Andre, you're first, more likely to stick. And by stick, what do we mean here by stick? Because there are many different meanings for stick. So if we say that something, a habit is likely to stick, Eileen says consistency, remain. That is right. So here, when we use the word stick, it means that we will keep doing it. Okay, that it will remain in our life. It will become a habit. That's great. I just want to have a look at one more of these vocabulary. Anthony says keep doing. That's right. One more example of some vocabulary here. We can see it. It says Matt felt like he was stuck in a rut. So I know that this is one of the phrases which is actually taught in the app before, the students would have done before the lesson. So a rut is, it's a term that comes from a long time ago when roads were not paved. So we had like a dirt road or a dirt track. We didn't use asphalt on them. And when we had a lot of heavy wagons going down them, they used to make like a track in the road. And this is what we call a rut. So when we say that we're stuck in a rut, it means that we cannot escape from where we're going. We keep following the same path without changing it. So we tend to use it. It's an idiom that we use when we're talking about something that we want to change because our life is boring, our life is monotonous, it's always the same, but we can't stop what we're doing at the moment. So this is all explained actually during in the app, in the pre-work. Okay, perfect. So that's one of the comprehension, which is also the main point. So this is helping us to understand the main point of the TED Talk. So next we're going to have a look. We're not going to do all of these activities because we don't have enough time. I'm actually following a lesson plan here, which is downloadable from the companion site. So I'm doing the shorter lesson plan. So after the comprehension, we are going to have a look at the grammar. So let's go down to grammar number 1. And I think this is an interesting grammar point because it's not one of the grammar points which is commonly taught. It's actually looking at the use of 3 adverbs and how we use them. So it's something a little bit different to the, the normal kind of grammar that we do. So let's have a look. We're looking at exactly, really, and actually. And let's have a look in a little bit of detail about what it says here. So we've got 3 example sentences. It tells us how we use them. We use them before nouns and noun phrases. And it also tells us that they're adding some meaning, but if we removed them, the sentences would have a similar meaning. If we scroll down to the bottom, we can see that without these words, exactly, really, and actually, the ideas wouldn't feel as strong or as important. So we're actually using these adverbs to add something to our speech, and we're using them to add emphasis. And there's something important here as well. This is the bit that I like. It tells us that to add emphasis with these adverbs, it's when we use them directly before the word they're emphasizing, because all of these words can be used in other ways with different usage. So this is being very clear. We're only talking about when we're using it before the word that we want to emphasize. It then breaks it down and it tells us how we use them exactly is for WH words, amounts, or times. Really is used for feelings. And actually is often used to express something that is surprising. So something that either, well, something that we think the listener will not be expecting, we use this actually. So obviously there are other uses for these adverbs, but these are the ones we're focusing on. So we're going to have a look at a few examples, and you're going to help me to answer these questions. So we're going to do grammar 3. And let's have a look and see if we can get the right answer. So number 1, it says, I wanted to try something new this month. And this sentence is fine as it is. I wanted to try something new this month, but we want to add some emphasis. So for number 1, in the chat box, what do you think? Which of these adverbs should we add? So should we add exactly or really? Okay, Trang has said, I really wanted, so let's click on it. I really wanted to try something new this month. And by adding the word really, the reason for that is because it's want. So it's a feeling or something we want, so we're going to use really. Okay, number 2, I thought it would be, let's see, I thought it would be actually fun, or I thought it would be really fun. So what do we think? I can see a couple of you typing really into the box again, so we'll put that in. And again, really here, it is really because this is, it's a feeling, okay? Having fun, this is a feeling. Number 3, I need to be at home at, and we've got here exactly or actually. So we've got 4 o'clock. So which of these do we think is right? Leora and Arlene say exactly. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to ask you, so why is it exactly? Why is it exactly 4 o'clock? It's a time. Okay, so we use it with times or numbers. Perfect. Okay, so this is why we're using exactly. And the difference between saying I need to be home at 4 o'clock, I need to be home at exactly 4 o'clock, is it's drawing people's attention to the 4 o'clock. When we hear that word exactly, we focus very closely on what comes next. There is precision. That's right, Ali. Okay, let's do a couple more. Number 4, that doesn't leave enough time to go hiking. So we got really or exactly. What do we think is the right answer here? We've got really. That really doesn't leave enough time to go hiking. Again, so here we're showing our opinion. And let's try one more, number 5. Okay, we've got here, I really or I actually decided to read a long novel. Number 5. What do we think about this one? Van is saying actually. Let's try it. And why is this one actually? I actually decided to read a long novel. So why do we think this one is using the word actually? It's an action. It is an action. I think there is something here. I think that's something that I'm trying to explain to the other person. So if I say to you, I actually decided to read a long novel, do you think that I usually read long novels? So yes or no? Do you think if I say this sentence, do I usually read long novels? Okay, no, that's right. So Andra and INET said no. So I think the reason we're using actually here is to show that this is something unexpected. Yes, Andra, doing something I don't normally do. It's something that is a bit surprising, and that's why we're using this actually here. Yeah, to emphasize it's something that is not normal for me. It's surprising. Okay, so we're not going to do all of these. I'm just going to show you the ones we've done. So if I show the answers, we can see that we got the answers correct. Okay, well done. I can hide the answers, and if I just go through, that has exactly. Okay, let's just finish them off. I'm actually enjoying it, and then I can check the answers. It'll just take a few seconds, and it actually gives me it tells us which ones are right and which ones are wrong. So we can check the answers here, and after the students have made a guess. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we've got time. Okay, for the next activity. So we've now got. Let's have a quick look at the speaking activity. So there are several more grammar activities we're not going to do. We're going to have a quick look at the speaking. Now, this is something that I really like and something a bit different from most programs. So when it says speaking, this is talking about real speaking strategies. It's not talking about practicing speaking, okay? So let's have a look at what this activity is. I'm going to use number 2 because I like this example. So this is actually focusing on pausing. So pausing is a very important element of speaking, because if we don't use pausing, it's going to be very difficult for people to understand what we're saying. So there are really 2 main uses or reasons we pause. One of them is to help people understand what we're saying, to give them time to process. And the second one is linked to the grammar point. So another reason we pause is to add something to our speaking. Can anyone guess what it is? I can pause so that I can, and it's that word beginning with E that we looked at in the grammar. Can anyone type it into the chat box for me? Emphasize. Susie, well done. Yes, we use it to emphasize. So it's to help comprehension and to help emphasize important parts. And again, this is something covered in the app in the pre-work. So let's listen to the sentence, and I want you to listen carefully, see if you can hear where the pauses are. Okay, so listen to the sentence. Where do you hear pauses?
I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges.
I'm going to play it again.
I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges.
I'll play it one more time.
I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges.
Okay, perfect. So how many pauses did you hear in that sentence, first of all? How many? 2, Cedrica, 3. Yeah, 2. So most people are saying 2 or 3. It's 3. Okay, there are 3 pauses there. The first one, Kitty already typed in for us. So the first one, I think we had highlight the words between. Yeah, okay, so we need to choose the words where the gap is. So if I think there's a gap between I and would, I'm going to choose I and would. So for the first gap, let's just listen one more time.
I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges.
Okay, so where is the first gap? So Antonio says never. Okay, so I think, yeah, Antonio's saying it's after never. So let's click that. I would never have. Okay, good. How about the second one? Where's the second one? Let's listen.
Never have been that adventurous.
Have been. Rika says have been. Okay, so between been and that. Mike says between been and that. Okay, right. So we've got I would never have been that. Okay, good. And the third one?
Before I started my 30-day challenges.
One more time.
I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges.
Okay, and the last one. Adventurous before. Adventurous before. Well done, Adam. Okay, well done, Susie. Okay, so I'm going to click that. So we've got 3. So we've got, I'm going to read it with an exaggerated pause. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. Okay, I'll read it one more time. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. And let's check the answers. Okay, and you are absolutely correct. Well done. So there are 3 pauses, and that's where they are. Now, what we're going to do, obviously, if we're in the classroom, we would get you to repeat. So we're going to do that. I'm not going to ask you to unmute because there are almost 70 of you here, and that's going to be a bit chaotic. So I just want you to repeat at home on your own. I'm going to say the sentence. I want you to repeat it after me. Okay, so we're going to do it stage by stage. So first of all, I would never. I want you to repeat. Again, the second part. I would never have been. So I'm imagining that you're repeating after me, and let's try it again. I would never have been that adventurous. Okay, and we're going to try the whole sentence. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. Okay, perfect. And there we go. Okay, so as I say, I'm imagining that you're all repeating after me. And that is, you know, a nice activity that we can use to focus on pausing. Obviously here, what do we think? I said there are 2 reasons that we can use pausing. And here, why is he using it? Do you think this is for comprehension, or do you think it's for emphasis? So what do we think in this sentence in particular? Do we think it's more for comprehension or more for emphasis? Yeah, and Susie, you're right. This is really for emphasis because, you know, we could read this. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. Normal way, we don't really need these pauses. And it's interesting because, you know, there are no commas here. You know, often people, you know, an easy way to spot a pause is by looking for a comma if it's written, but there are no commas here. So we can see really that this is, when we're adding pauses which are not strictly necessary, it's often for emphasis. Yeah, so that's, I think, a very nice activity. There are more examples here. Okay, there are 4 of them. And this is, you know, just a really nice way to focus on a less commonly talked about speaking strategy. There are more activities as well. There's another one, but we are going to go on because of the time. Okay, we're going to have a quick look at the discussion because I want to go in now. I want to give you time to actually do the discussion exercise. So here we are. Okay, there are 3 questions here. We're going to watch a very quick video clip, and you can read the questions at the same time.
So here's my question to you. What are you waiting for? I guarantee you the next 30 days are going to pass whether you like it or not. So why not think about something you have always wanted to try and give it a shot for the next 30 days?
Okay, great. So I am going to put these questions into the chat box. Okay, so I hope you can see them there. There's question 1. Andrew's done it as well. So the questions are in the chat box. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm going to break you out into breakout rooms. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to discuss these questions. Okay, so question 1, do you think you can actually accomplish something in 30 days? Why or why not? Would you do this? A couple of you already said you're going to try it. So will you try it? Would you try it? And the last one, think of an example of something that you think you could do for 30 days, a change you could make. Maybe it's to do with your health. Maybe it's to do with, I don't know, your personal life and your relationships. So think of something that you would like to try every day. It could be something like he said, like a little project, like taking a photo every day. Yeah, so what would you like to try? Okay, so these 3 questions to discuss. I am going to put you into a breakout room. Let's have a look. I'm going to create them. I'm going to try to put 4 in a room. Okay, there we go. So there'll be 4 or 5 of you in each room. There are 15 rooms, and yeah, you're going to have 5 minutes. So I'm going to set up this now. Okay, 5 minutes. So please, when you're in the breakout room, please unmute, okay, and discuss. If you can't unmute, please type into the chat box. Okay, I know some of you, maybe you're not in a place where you can talk freely. So if you can't discuss, please type into the chat box so that you're still part of the conversation. Okay, so 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, you will come back into this room. I'm going to ask a few of you for your opinions. All right, so are we ready? Okay, that's all right, Leora. Okay, maybe you can type. Okay, so is everyone ready to go into the chat box? Yes, perfect. Let's go. 5 minutes in the breakout room. Okay, if you're still here, if you haven't gone to the breakout room, okay, you just need to click the join button, and that will take you into the breakout room. Okay, I can see a few of you are still here with me. Okay, a few of you are here. If you're here in the room with me, please feel free to unmute, and we can have a discussion here. So can anyone unmute so we can discuss? Are any of you free for a little discussion? So I can see Kartika, Eva, Lokpam, Akiko. I can see Dongjun. Are any of you able to join the discussion with me for a few minutes? We could use the chat box if you want. Eva, you have put up your hand. Okay, do you want to unmute and ask me a question, Eva? So you should be able to see like a microphone icon. Okay, so Dongjun, Akiko, Lokpam, Dewey. Wendy, I can see a Wendy here as well. Okay, there's 2 minutes left. Are any of you able? Nadia, I can see a Nadia here. Oh, she's gone back to the room. Okay, there's just about 1 minute left before everyone rejoins us. Okay, I've just seen two people, Wendy and Eleanor. You've just joined us. You can unmute if you like. Most of the participants are currently in a discussion activity in a breakout room. We're discussing the questions you can see on the screen. So any of you who are still here, okay, actually we're running out of time now. Okay, so everyone will be coming back. Okay, it's 1 second to go. Okay, and people will start coming back. Okay, so I think most of you are now returning to the main room. Okay, great. So I can see some smiling faces on camera. So that's good news. Okay, that makes me very happy to see. Just in the chat box, did any of you manage to have a nice conversation in the breakout room? Did you find anything interesting out about the people you were talking to? Yeah, really. I know. Really quick. You know, we only have 1 hour. You know, obviously, I'd like to do that for much longer. Yeah, okay, that's okay, Vampire. As long as you answered a couple of the questions, that's fine. Okay, Mike says good. All right, good to hear it. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to put into the chat box if you think there is something that you could try for 30 days. Okay, please type that thing into the chat box now. If there's something that you feel you would like to try for 30 days, type that activity into the chat box now. And I'm going to ask one of you to unmute and to actually explain a little bit about why you would like to do that and if you think it's achievable. Okay, Andrew Tiffany says, make 5 new friends. Susie says, cooking 1 dish a day for 30 days. Rika says, ride a bike. Antonio says, no sugar. Okay, so lots of ideas here. I'm interested in what Susie says, cooking 1 dish a day for 30 days. Now, Susie, can you unmute and explain a little bit about that for us?
Okay, here I am.
Hi,
thank you
Susie.
for having me. Actually, I have started this 30-day challenge, and I've been doing it for 15 days so far. It's my summer holiday as we are teachers. So I've always wanted to try cooking, and I started because in another group, several of my friends want to do this challenge thing. So I picked up cooking. I've always wanted to try it, and I want to be more independent and not to rely on street food or 外卖 or you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing it, and I found some app really useful. Anyway, I just find it worthwhile to try.
That's amazing. And Susie,
Yeah.
is it just a coincidence that you are already in the middle of a 30-day challenge that we are talking about that today? It's just coincidence.
Yes, it's coincidence.
Wow,
But
amazing.
also I find the topic so relevant to me, so I signed up for this activity
okay,
too.
right. Okay, that's why. Very nice. Okay, good. And let's have one more. I'm going to ask someone else. Let's see. How about who's got something interesting here? Read at least 15. So Beth says read at least 15 minutes every day. So Beth, is it possible for you to unmute?
Yeah, I have some music background, so I hope it doesn't matter. And I'm not able to turn on the camera.
Okay, I can hear a violin.
Okay.
Okay, so you said reading for 15 minutes. So why did you choose this?
Because I'm also a teacher, and I find it very difficult for us to enhance our own knowledge after work. So during this 30-day challenge, I think it will be possible for me to achieve this, and I could do it before I go to bed. So basically, I just put a book next to my bed, and then I have to read it before I go to bed. I think it will be possible.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Beth. I'm just gonna mute you because of the violin there. Okay, so thank you very much for giving the answer. It was nice to hear someone practicing the violin. Yeah, I think Beth said that it's achievable. 15 minutes is achievable. You put the book next to your bed, and if you consciously put your mind to it, you can do it. Okay, so that's really what this challenge is all about. Okay, now, because of the time constraints we're under, I would love to hear from all of you, but unfortunately we don't have enough time. So I want to have a quick look at one more thing before I show you a little bit more information about the program itself. So after all of the other exercises, that was one discussion task. As you can see, there are 4 discussion tasks here. And at the end of every lesson, there is a project. Okay, so let's have a look at the project. Obviously, the project here is linked to what we were talking about there. So what you get your students to do is you actually get them to choose an achievable challenge and to actually do it, and to record their thoughts in a daily journal. And after the 30 days are up, then you share your experiences, and you talk about whether you think you achieved it or not, who gave up, okay, who really did it well. And this is something very inspiring for students, and it's a really nice, a real project that, you know, is easy to set up and something which is very engaging for our students. Okay, I'm now going to talk a little bit. I'm going to show you a few things actually about the program itself. So thank you very much for participating in the lesson today. So I'm going to do a screen share. Okay, and then we're going to go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, let's get into here. Okay, here we are. So yeah, so as I said earlier, this is a learning English app, and I talked about how students can use this for flipped learning. They can do the app activities before the class. Now we actually have a website which I'm going to ask Andrew to put into the chat box now. So if you are interested in finding out more, you can go to our website. And you can, here they are. So there are 2 websites. One of them has information about the program, and the other one actually is the companion site. The second one there has all of the information for teachers, the extra resources. The classroom presentation tool, this is what we were actually using today. The classroom presentation tool was the way that I was showing you the activities and the video and everything else. Okay, and I also mentioned earlier on the companion site, and you can see here this is broken down by level. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about this. So this is it's broken into 4 levels. There are 10 TED Talks per level, so 10 pre-intermediate, 10 intermediate, and each of these lessons has the separate content from the app and from the CPT, and it also has a complete lesson plan. Now these lesson plans are actually with pacing, so you can do a 30-minute lesson, a 60-minute lesson, or a 90-minute lesson, or even more adaptable for whatever time you have. It also has worksheets, which are in PDF files that Andrew just sent to you. And for the worksheets, they actually match with some of the content from the CPT. So if you're in the classroom, you can print them off, and students can actually write on them. If you're doing it online, you can send them to the students and they can print them off and use them during the lesson. And there's also an annotated transcript, which is something that is really, really useful. And I'm going to send that to you now. So the annotated transcript, this has all of that extra information, like explaining the idioms. It explains when he makes a joke, it explains that. So this makes it very, very accessible for students, really, you know, to access authentic English. You know, Matt, it's for English speakers, but we've made it very accessible with the scaffolding and the extra resources. I'm going to send you one more here. I'm going to send you the lesson plan. So you will, if you look at the lesson plan, it's in the chat box. Please download it. You will see you know, the activities that I did today, and you will see them. I basically did them in the way that they were recommended for the 30-minute lesson. So those are some of the resources. I'm going to ask one more poll for today, and so I'm going to launch it now. So the program that we've looked at today, Learn English with TED Talks, it's a supplementary program. It is one that can be used with any other course that you can add lessons in, or you can make it part of the lesson. It is something that's very flexible to use, and it's something that's very topical. It's very inspiring. You're learning all these speaking techniques. You're getting students involved with projects. So there's so many good things about this program, and it's one of the programs that I really love that we have, which is why I'm doing it today. And I hope that, having attended it, that you've enjoyed it, and that you're interested to find out more. I can see that basically almost everyone would like to know more, which is great. So we will contact you with some more information about this, and we can also help to set up a demo account for the app so that you can actually go and have a look at it yourself. So if you've put yes, which was 98%, which is really amazing, we will contact you with that information. We're also going to, as I said earlier, we're going to send you an email tomorrow, which is a follow-up email, which will have the recording to this session, and which will also have the certificate, the survey. So do the survey, and then after you've done the survey, you can download the certificate. Mike's asking how you can unlock the resources. So Mike, the resources on there are for teachers that are using the program. So that's not something that we can just hand out to anyone who's attended the webinar. We will send you some extra resources, but the locked resources are for teachers who have, or for institutions, for schools that are using the program, and that's how you gain access to it. So if your school is interested in using this program, then you will contact us and we will help you to unlock those resources. Okay, now I'm 2 minutes over time, so are there any quick questions that we have at the end that anyone would like to ask me before we wrap up? You can type into the chat box. I'm just going to show you, this is from the website. Okay, so we put this in the chat box earlier. There's information about this. I'm also going to show you this very quickly. So you will be able to see on the website that this is the contents, or the scope and sequence. So we can see the different elements here. So you can see there's for every single lesson, there is a theme, communication, grammar, speaking, and key vocabulary. This is how you use it to match the course that you're teaching. And finally, okay, before I wrap up, so I want you to just bring your attention to our upcoming webinars. The next one we've got is next week. Andrew is back and he's doing another session from our Very Young Learner program, Welcome to Our World. And so I hope that you can sign up. If you click on the link Andrew's just posted here, this will take you to our webinar page, and you will be able to sign up, register for Andrew's session next week, and you will also be able to find the recordings from all of our other webinars. Finally, I hope that if you've enjoyed the webinar, if you like National Geographic Learning, our materials, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on WeChat, you can find us on YouTube. So please become a fan, follow us, and you will be able to see all of the content that we are putting out, all of the resources and all of the teaching tips, etc., that will help you in your jobs every day. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. As I said, I hope you've enjoyed the program. I hope you like it as much as I do, because it's one of my favorites. And I'm going to stay here for the next sort of 10-15 minutes. So if you've got any follow-up questions, you can stay and ask. But this is really the end of the webinar. I'm going to stop the recording here. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.